My husband blindsided me with divorce papers, calling me a useless wife before walking out to move in with a younger woman. He was so sure I'd crumble without him. I just smiled. Now he's the one calling 20 times a day. Yesterday, after 15 years of marriage, my husband James stood in our living room and handed me the papers like it was a casual transaction. He didn't even flinch when he said I'd been nothing but dead weight to him. Then, without hesitation, he announced he was moving in with his mistress. He honestly believed I'd fall apart the moment he left. I'm still reeling, but writing this out is the only way to stop my thoughts from spinning. Deep down, I probably should have seen it coming. Looking back, the warning signs were there, that you never want to admit that the person you built your life complete stranger, or maybe they were that person and I just didn't want to face it. It began subtly. About 8 months ago, James suddenly became obsessed with. He started going 45 every morning at 5, decked himself out and couldn't stop checking his Apple Watch like it was tracking his self-worth. I was genuinely happy for him. We're not getting any younger, and I've always believed taking care of your health matters. For Christmas, he even got me a Peloton, but every time I didn't use it, he'd remind me how expensive it was, like it was a scoreboard of my value. Then came the late nights at work, the texts he'd quickly swipe away when the new cologne he was a free sample from Sephora, and the casual digs about how I should freshen up my look. Maybe try that viral skincare brand everyone's using, or get Botox like normal women might. For the record, I take care of myself just fine. I just don't believe in spending hundreds on whatever cream or serum happens to be trending on Instagram. Yesterday, while folding laundry, I found a Tiffany & Co. receipt in his pocket. That was the moment my stomach dropped. We're not the kind of people who shop at Tiffany's. We're Target regulars who drive a 2018 Honda Civic. So, yeah, that shiny blue receipt was a red flag waving right in my face. When I checked our joint account, I nearly had a panic attack. There were withdrawals to an unfamiliar account, and our savings had been quietly shrinking for months. I waited for him to come home, holding that receipt like evidence in a crime scene. I expected lies or deflection, maybe even the classic gaslighting routine, but instead he laughed. Actually laughed. Then he disappeared into his office, came back with an envelope, and tossed it onto the coffee table. I was gonna wait till the weekend, he said with that smug grin. But since you're snooping, here you go. Inside were the divorce papers. According to him, my lawyer would probably call it fair. Considering you've contributed basically nothing to this marriage, he kept talking, comparing me to his new girlfriend Aurora, who actually takes care of herself and has ambition. Apparently Aurora's some fitness influencer he met at F45. 50,000 followers, lots of selfies and matching sports bras. Really going places, as he put it. Meanwhile, I'm just the wife who supported him through grad school, cooked, cleaned, and put my own dreams on pause because he swore his career needed to come first. The cruelest part? He'd been orchestrating this for months. He already had a new apartment, one of those high-rise luxury complexes downtown. And that Tiffany receipt? It wasn't for me. It was a promise ring for her. He used our savings to buy jewelry for his mistress. Then came the cherry on top. Let's be real, he said. You can barely work Netflix without me. You'll be calling in a week, begging to fix this. I'm doing you a favor, teaching you to finally grow up. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, numb, watching him pack. He filled his suitcase with his designer clothes, took the iPad, the gaming console, and even the good coffee maker. Left me with the cheap one. After the door shut, I sat in silence for a long time. Then I opened my laptop and started digging through our finances. It didn't take long to find proof that he'd been siphoning money for months, credit card statements full of dinners and hotel stays I never knew about, Venmo payments that made me physically sick to look at. I called my sister Vivian, and she came over right away. We spent the entire night combing through papers, building lists, trying to figure out what was left of my life. By morning, I called in sick to work and made an appointment with a divorce attorney. I froze all our joint credit cards, a trick I picked up from some random TikTok video, of all things. It's been 24 hours. My phone shows 23 missed calls from him. The first voicemail was full of anger. The second, threats. By the 10th, he'd switched to begging, saying we needed to talk this through like adults. First update. Thank you to everyone who's reached out after my last post. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything, but a few things have happened since then that I need to share. I've been staying at my sister Vivian's place for the past week. Her couch isn't exactly luxury, especially with her kids' toys taking up the guest room, but it beats being alone in that house filled with ghosts. Reality hit hard when I tried to order something simple on Amazon, and my card got declined for a $30 purchase. I called the bank, and that's when the rest unraveled. Turns out James had been quietly moving money for months. Not big chunks, just small transfers, $200 here, $300 there, labeled as car maintenance or home repairs. Also ordinary that I never questioned it. Now I feel like an idiot for not catching on sooner. When we first got married, he insisted we keep separate accounts, said it would be more practical. I didn't fight it because I trusted him with our joint savings. That's where most of my paycheck went. He used to call it building our future. What a joke. I learned he's been taking Aurora to all kinds of fancy restaurants. Nothing crazy like Michelin star level, but way more than we ever spent. Like that new fusion spot downtown where appetizers alone cost $15 each. Meanwhile, he used to gripe when I spent $50 at Target, on groceries or cleaning supplies we actually needed. The hypocrisy still blows my mind. While sorting through the mountain of paperwork we'd built up over 15 years, I started noticing receipts from places I've never even set foot in. Small stuff, coffee shops near her apartment, movie tickets from dates I definitely wasn't on. He didn't even bother hiding them, just shoved them into the same drawer as our tax returns and utility bills, like I'd never find them. Vivian's been helping me dig through everything. She works at a bank, so she knows what to look for. She called it classic financial abuse. That phrase hit me weird, dramatic almost, but maybe she's right. Still, instead of angry, I just feel stupid, like I should have connected the dots months ago. Something strange happened yesterday at Walmart, of all places. I was there picking up basic stuff, toothpaste, shampoo, paper towels, when I bumped into James's cousin, Mateo. I expected awkward small talk, but he was surprisingly kind. Even helped me choose a cheap printer so I could scan all my documents for the lawyer. Then he said something that floored me. Apparently, James pulled the same kind of manipulation years ago with his high school girlfriend. Would have been nice to know that before I married him, but hey, better late than never. James still calls, though not as obsessively, down to maybe 5 or 6 times a day. The tone has changed too. His texts went from furious to concerned. Yesterday he wrote, Just worried about you handling the bills. As if I haven't been paying my own bills for years. Then, out of nowhere, Aurora messaged me on Facebook. Nothing explosive, just a casual. We should talk sometime. I stared at it for a good minute, then left her on read. What's there to talk about? She knew he was married. She made her choices. She's no innocent bystander in this. I met with a divorce attorney yesterday. Nothing fancy. Found her through a women's support group on Facebook. She listened carefully as I walked her through the financial mess, her brow furrowing deeper with every detail. When I showed her how James had been shifting money around, she said we needed to move quickly before he hit anything else. Then came the biggest shock yet. I logged into our old shared email account, and right there were confirmation messages for a credit card I'd never heard of. Not a high-limit one, just a basic Capital One card with a $3,000 cap. But he'd been using it for months, mostly at restaurants and gas stations near her apartment, and the kicker? I saw recurring charges from Planet Fitness. The same man who bragged nonstop about going to that elite F45 gym was actually working out at a budget chain. I had to laugh. Guess the fitness influencer girlfriend isn't funding the lifestyle he imagined. Today I opened my own bank account, just a simple checking account. The woman at the bank was incredibly patient, walked me through setting up the app and online banking. Turns out it's not rocket science, despite James always insisting I wouldn't understand that stuff. Oh, and I finally learned why he was so insistent about managing our Netflix account. He'd set up a secret profile he used to watch shows with her, romantic comedies mostly. Real classy, James. Edit 1. Thanks to everyone who mentioned freezing credit. Already did it. Surprisingly easy. Edit 2. Yep, I'm documenting everything. I have an entire folder on my phone full of screenshots and receipts. Edit 3. For those asking, no, I haven't responded to either of them. My lawyer told me not to engage, so I'm keeping quiet. Edit 4. Some people suggested I publicly expose Aurora online. Not interested. I don't need internet drama. I just want to get through this with some dignity left. Second update. Quick update because the past week has been absolutely wild. Remember how James was convinced I'd fall apart without him? Turns out Karma had other plans. I just landed a new job at a local company. Nothing glamorous. Just a customer service position that pays $16 an hour. But get this. The office happens to be in the same building as one of James's biggest clients. I didn't even plan it that way. Saw the listing on Indeed, applied, got the call. On my first day, I stepped into the elevator. James, wearing his fancy, important meeting suit, the one he maxed out our Nordstrom card for, and right behind him was Aurora, looking like she regretted tagging along. The look on his face when he saw me? Pure. I was in professional clothes, holding my new laptop bag, smiling politely like I didn't even know him. He went pale. Aurora just stared, probably realizing her successful man wasn't as untouchable as he liked to think. But here's where it gets even better. Remember how James always claimed I was too scatterbrained to handle finances? My new manager, Matthew, actually complimented how oriented I am. He even asked me to organize some office spreadsheets. Thanks to a few late-night YouTube tutorials, I picked up Excel pretty fast. Then I realized those same skills could help me organize the mountain of evidence against James. Bank statements, credit card bills, Venmo log, all neatly sorted by date and category. When I showed my divorce attorney, she actually smiled. "This is perfect," she said, flipping through my color-coded folders. "We won't even need to hire a forensic accountant." James used to lose his mind whenever I spent $50 at Target, even if it was for cleaning supplies or groceries we actually needed. The irony still makes me laugh. While digging through 15 years' worth of paperwork, it's wild how much clutter two people can accumulate. I stumbled on receipts from places I'd never even been. Nothing major, just little things. Coffee shops near her apartment, movie tickets from dates that clearly didn't include me. He didn't even try to hide them well. They were just sitting there, mixed in with our tax documents and warranty forms like he thought I'd never notice. Vivian's been by my side through it all, helping me sort and label everything. She works at a bank, so she knows exactly where to look and what patterns to watch for. She called it financial abuse. The word sounded too heavy at first, too dramatic for what I thought I'd been through. But the more we dug, the more accurate it felt. I don't even feel angry anymore, just stupid. Like I should have seen it all so much sooner. Something strange happened yesterday at work. I was there picking up basics, toothpaste, shampoo, just regular stuff. When I ran into James's cousin Mateo, I braced myself for awkward silence. But instead, he was friendly. Even helped me pick out a cheap printer so I could scan my documents for the lawyer. Then he dropped a bomb I wasn't expecting. He said James had pulled similar stunts back in high school. Cheating, lying about money, manipulating people. Would have been nice to know that before I married. But at this point, nothing surprises me. James still calls. Not constantly like before, but enough to be annoying. Maybe 5 or 6 times a day. His tone has changed too. He's gone from furious rants to fake concern. Yesterday he texted, "Just worried about you handling the bills." As if I haven't been managing my own finances since college. Then came a Facebook message from Aurora. Nothing dramatic. No apology. Just a casual, "We should talk sometime." I didn't reply. What's there to talk about? She knew he was married. She's not some naive girl who got tricked. She made her choice, same as he did. Yesterday I met with a divorce attorney. Nothing fancy. I found her through a women's support group on Facebook. She was calm, sharp, and immediately alarmed when I showed her how James had been quietly moving money. She told me we needed to act fast to stop him from hiding more assets. The real shock came later that night. I logged into our old shared email account and found confirmation emails for a credit card I'd never even heard of. It wasn't anything flashy, just a basic Capital One card with a $3,000 limit. But he'd been using it for months, mostly at restaurants and gas stations around her neighborhood. And get this, there were multiple charges from Planet Fitness. The same guy who bragged endlessly about his expensive F45 gym was apparently sneaking off to the budget one. Probably couldn't afford to keep up appearances. Guess his fitness influencer girlfriend wasn't raking in the cash he made her out to be. Today, I opened my own bank account, just a simple checking account at Chase. The woman at the counter couldn't have been kinder. She walked me through everything, showed me how to use their app, even helped me set up notifications. Turns out banking isn't nearly as complicated as James always pretended it was. Oh, and I finally discovered why he insisted on managing our Netflix account himself. The man had a whole separate profile he used to watch romantic movies and travel documentaries. Real classy, James. Edit 1. Thanks to everyone who mentioned freezing credit. Already done. Surprisingly easy. Edit 2. Yep, I'm documenting I've got a whole folder on my phone full of screenshots, emails, and receipts. Edit 3. No, I haven't replied to either of them. My lawyer says to keep all communication cut off. Edit 4. For the people saying I should expose Aurora online, I'm not interested. I don't need to fight for strangers' entertainment. I just want to get through this with some dignity left. Update. Quick check-in, because this week's been insane. Remember how James was absolutely sure I'd fall apart without him? Turns out Karma's got a sense of humor. I landed a job. Nothing fancy. Just a customer service role at a local company paying $16 an hour. But the twist? The office happens to be in the same building as one of James's biggest clients. Total coincidence. I saw the listing on Indeed, applied, got hired. Simple as that. So on my very first day, I'm heading up in the elevator when the doors slide open. And there he is. James, dressed in his important meeting suit, the one he maxed out our Nordstrom card for, and trailing behind him, Aurora, looking uncomfortable as hell. The look on his face when he saw me in work clothes, laptop bag over my shoulder, hair done, standing on my own 2 feet. Absolutely priceless. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Aurora just stared, probably realizing her successful businessman wasn't nearly as untouchable as he pretended. But it gets even better. Remember how James always said I was too scatterbrained to handle finances or serious work? My new manager, Matthew, actually complimented me on how organized and detail-focused I am. He even asked me to help sort through some of the office spreadsheets. So I started teaching myself Excel. Thank you, YouTube tutorials. And once I got the hang of it, I applied the same system to my own situation. I organized every shred of evidence. Bank statements, receipts, credit card bills, Venmo transactions, all neatly color-coded and dated. When I handed the binder to my divorce attorney, she literally smiled. "This is perfect," she said. "We won't even need to hire a forensic accountant." Apparently, James had been using that secret credit card and joint funds to prop up his fake lifestyle with Aurora. His parents found out during a family dinner last weekend, and it was all thanks to Aurora's TikTok. One of her videos showed off a new bracelet from Tiffany's and tagged the restaurant they were eating at. It somehow ended up on James's mom's Facebook feed. From what I heard, there was a full-blown scene at Olive Garden. His dad was furious, took back the spare house key right there in front of everyone. James completely unraveled after that. He's been on a meltdown tour ever since, messaging everyone to clear his name, making new Instagram accounts to harass Aurora, calling his old job nonstop to explain the misunderstanding, even showing up at his parents' doorstep at midnight, begging them to take his side. But Karma wasn't finished yet. Remember how he always insisted on managing our shared cloud storage because I was too disorganized? Well, I finally logged into it last week to download some old photos. When I finally opened our shared cloud storage, I found a folder packed with screenshots, his old conversations with Aurora, from when their affair first began. Some were downright nauseating, full of their plans for how life would be after he left me. I didn't even have to think twice. I just forwarded everything straight to my divorce attorney. She actually chuckled when she read them. "You're making my job almost too easy," she said. But the absolute peak of this whole saga? Aurora posted a follow-up TikTok yesterday. This time she showed off the so-called Tiffany ring James had given her, which turned out to be a cheap knockoff from a sketchy online jewelry site. She even included screenshots of the website. The video blew up overnight, more than 50,000 views and counting. A few hours later, James showed up at my workplace, begging to talk things out and asking for help to fix his reputation. Security didn't even let him pass the lobby. Apparently, the entire scene was so ridiculous it ended up on the building's security camera highlight reel. I'll admit, I did one slightly petty thing yesterday. While I was sipping coffee, I changed every single one of our shared streaming passwords. Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, even his precious ESPN+. I could see the Ring camera notifications popping up on my phone as he tried and failed to log into each account. By the third one, I was actually laughing out loud. Then Karma delivered one last gift. His beloved Tesla Model, the car he leased to look impressive in front of Aurora, but was way beyond, got repossessed this morning, right out of the parking lot of the Motel 6, where he's been staying since she kicked him out. I didn't plan to witness it, but I happened to be across the street in the Dunkin' drive-thru. Watching it all unfold while waiting for my coffee felt almost cinematic. Sometimes the universe really does handle things for you. Edit 1. Yes, I'm keeping copies of everything for the divorce. Every file, every receipt. Edit 2. No, I'm not sharing Aurora's TikTok handle. This isn't about creating more chaos. Final update. I wasn't planning to post again, but a few things happened recently that feel like the perfect ending to this whole story. It's been 6 months since James called me a useless wife and walked out. The divorce is finally finalized. No courtroom drama, no shouting match. Just paperwork, signatures, and 2 tired lawyers in a bland office. When James walked in, I almost didn't recognize him. He looked rough, wearing that same Nordstrom dress shirt he once bragged about, except now it was wrinkled and a little too tight. Seems the fitness influencer lifestyle didn't... Remember those fake expense reports he used to file at work? His company didn't bother with lawsuits or scandal. They just quietly withheld his final paycheck, cut his bonuses, and blacklisted him from any future positions. Corporate revenge. Clean, quiet, efficient. Aurora left him last month. No viral breakup, no dramatic TikTok this time. She simply moved back in with her parents in the suburbs. Guess life gets a lot less glamorous when your boyfriend can't afford Cheesecake Factory dinners anymore. She even tried messaging me on Instagram, wanting to explain her side. I left her on red. Some things just don't deserve closure. As for James, he's renting a room in a shared house on the other side of town now. His Tesla's long gone, repossessed weeks ago, and he's driving an old beat-up Honda, the same kind of car he once mocked me for wanting because it was too basic. I'm still at my customer service job, but I got a small raise. $5 an hour more. Not life-changing, but it feels good to earn it. I even learned how to do my own taxes through TurboTax. Turns out it's not the complicated mystery James always made it out to be. Last week I ran into his mom at Target. We both froze for a second in the home goods aisle, standing between bins and throw pillows. Instead of walking away, she approached me, told me James had asked to borrow money, and she'd told him no, that it was time for him to grow up. Then she helped me pick out some cute, affordable pillows for my new apartment. That apartment finally feels like home now. I've got a few plants from Home Depot. 2 are thriving, 1's barely hanging on, and I've learned to cook actual meals with HelloFresh. On weekends, I go to Planet Fitness. Nothing fancy, just me showing up and doing something for myself. James still tries to contact me every now and then, usually through new Instagram accounts when he's been drinking. His messages are always the same. You'll regret this. You can't make it without me. I block him every time. The funny part? I found his old password list in our shared Google Drive. Literally a document named Passwords. I didn't use it or mess with anything. I just forwarded it to his sister, Katie, so she could tell him to change it all before someone else did. There's someone new in my life, kind of. Matthew, the same co-worker who first complimented me on my spreadsheets. We grab lunch together in the break room sometimes. He's recently divorced too, so he gets it. No pressure, no expectations. Just 2 people healing at their own pace. And then, just last week, I overheard a conversation at Dunkin' that made everything come full circle. A couple of guys from James's old office were talking about him. Apparently, he's been calling and emailing nonstop, begging for his job back. Even showed up in the lobby once. They didn't even call security. Just let him stand there until he got tired and left. His shiny new life isn't what he pictured. No luxury gym membership, no influencer girlfriend, no big clients. He works out at the same Planet Fitness I go to now. We've awkwardly crossed paths in the parking lot once. Neither of us said a word. Aurora's back on dating apps. His important business connections have stopped replying. And me? I'm doing everything he swore I couldn't. Paying bills, managing repairs, budgeting, cooking, and living on my... Nothing extraordinary. Just normal adult life. The kind he never believed I was capable of handling. Last weekend, while cleaning, I came across our old wedding photos. That young woman smiling next to him, trying so hard to fit his version of perfection. I barely recognize her. The most satisfying moment of all wasn't revenge or karma. It was yesterday standing at the bank, depositing my paycheck. I still like doing it in person. The teller, the same kind woman who helped me open my account 6 months ago when I was trembling with anxiety, looked up, smiled, and said, "You look happier." And you know what? I really am.